As the night settles around you, imagine its softness stretching out like a calm, endless horizon. The world grows quieter, movement slows, and the familiar rhythms of the day gently dissolve. In this stillness, your mind begins to drift, finding space between thoughts where peaceful curiosity can unfold. Let yourself sink into that slow, quiet rhythm, breathing deeply, feeling your body grow heavier, and allowing the gentle hum of nighttime to wrap around you like a warm blanket. Night has always been the time when our senses sharpen, not in fear, but in awareness. When the rest of the world sleeps, ancient instincts awaken, attuned to subtle sounds, distant lights, and the vast unknown above. Throughout human history, civilizations have looked to the night sky with a mixture of wonder and humility. Long before telescopes, satellites, or modern science, people stared upward and sensed that the darkness was not empty. Early astronomers charted constellations for navigation in mythology, believing the stars were living entities, watchers, or gateways to other realms. Farmers relied on their patterns, travelers followed their paths, and storytellers wove celestial events into tales of gods, spirits, and visitors from beyond. Even then, people recognized something powerful. The night sky holds mysteries that shape the human imagination. As centuries passed, the stories changed, but the feeling remained. The quiet hours between dusk and dawn have always been the time when encounters with the unexplained were most often described. Strange flashes on the horizon, whispers of movement in the distance, and lights that behaved unlike anything known. These stories passed from generation to generation, settling into the fabric of human culture. Some dismissed them as dreams or imagination, while others believed they revealed glimpses of beings or forces visiting our world. Whether interpreted as omens, divine messengers, or celestial travelers, the unknown has always chosen the night to reveal itself. Tonight, you're invited into that long tradition, not with fear, but with a calm, curious mind. This journey is not about jump scares or chaos. It is about drifting through the mysteries that have accompanied humanity for thousands of years. As you lie here, breathing slowly, imagine the night as a gentle ocean. Each inhale draws you deeper into its calm waters. Each exhale releases the tensions of your day. Within this tranquil space, stories of strange encounters, unexplained lights, and distant visitors become soft echoes, quiet enough to relax you, yet intriguing enough to hold your attention as you drift toward sleep. The purpose of these stories is not to convince you of anything, nor to frighten you. Instead, they serve as windows into human experience, accounts from people who found themselves facing something that felt larger, stranger, and more unknowable than everyday life. These are stories drawn from real testimonies, documented incidents, and historical accounts. Some were recorded by researchers, some by government investigators, and others by ordinary individuals who simply wanted to understand what they had seen. Each story reflects the same underlying truth. Even in our modern world of technology and science, there are phenomena that remain unexplained. In this calm space, you'll move through these experiences the way one glides through a dream, slowly, lightly, and without pressure. There is no need to analyze or decide what is true. Simply allow the stories to unfold like soft, distant memories carried on a quiet breeze. As they drift through your mind, let your body continue sinking deeper into rest. Your breathing stays slow and steady, your thoughts quieter, more fluid. Outside your window, the night sky stretches endlessly, just as it has for every civilization before ours. And somewhere in that vast darkness lie mysteries humanity has yet to fully understand. As you listen, imagine yourself floating beneath the stars, weightless and calm. The universe becomes a gentle companion rather than something overwhelming, a presence that feels ancient, patient, and filled with possibility. The unknown does not need to be frightening. It can be soothing, reminding you that life extends far beyond what we see, offering endless space for wonder and imagination. Let these stories guide you gently toward sleep, carrying you into the peaceful expanse of night where mystery and tranquility meet. For as long as humans have existed, we have looked upward, toward the stars, the moon, and the endless darkness stretching far beyond our sight. When early people gazed into the night sky, they didn't see random specks of light. They saw patterns, beings, and stories woven into the fabric of the heavens. In ancient Sumer, the earliest known civilization, clay tablets described beings descending from the sky, bringing knowledge and tools. These accounts did not feel like fantasy to the people who wrote them. They were part of everyday understanding, part of how they explained the world. The idea that powerful visitors might come from above shaped their beliefs, rituals, and sense of place in the universe. Even then, the night sky symbolized mystery and possibility. Across the world in India, the ancient Vedic texts describe sky chariots called vimanas, machines of radiant light that descended with great noise and power, sometimes piloted by beings from distant realms. Scholars still debate whether these descriptions were metaphors or memories of real phenomena that the writers could not fully explain. What stands out is the level of detail, structured shapes, propulsion-like movements, and interactions with humans. These ancient texts were written with such conviction that even modern researchers continue to revisit them, wondering whether they represent myth or something more literal. When read carefully, they echo the same themes we hear in modern UFO reports: strange lights, unusual flight patterns, and encounters that leave lasting impressions. In medieval Europe, chronicles recorded shields of fire and flying wheels moving across the sky. These descriptions came from priests, soldiers, and scholars, individuals who documented events with seriousness and duty. Many of these sightings were seen by entire towns, leaving little room for misunderstanding or individual imagination. At the time, people interpreted them through the lens of religion or superstition, believing they were signs from angels or warnings from the heavens. But when viewed through a modern lens, some of these accounts resemble the structured craft reported in the 20th and 21st centuries. Even the emotional responses, confusion, awe, and fear, mirror the testimonies of modern witnesses who encounter something they cannot explain. As centuries passed, humanity gained more tools to observe the sky. Telescopes revealed planets, comets, and stars in greater detail. Early astronomers began to understand that Earth was not the center of everything, and this shift opened the door to a new kind of curiosity. If our world was just one among many, then what else might be out there? Scientists debated the possibility of life beyond Earth, while philosophers and writers used the idea to explore questions of humanity's purpose and place in the cosmos. Yet even with growing scientific insight, the ancient stories persisted, suggesting that people across time had been witnessing something they struggled to define. In the 19th century, as technology advanced and travel expanded, newspapers began publishing reports of mysterious airships. These sightings often described large, structured craft moving in ways that defied the capabilities of the time. Some reports came from farmers and townspeople, while others came from engineers and pilots who insisted that what they saw did not match any known invention. Historians looking back on these cases note how consistent the descriptions were across distance and culture. Whether in America, Europe, or parts of Asia, people described similar shapes, similar movements, and similar emotional reactions, an unease mixed with fascination. By the early 20th century, humanity was entering a new era. Airplanes filled the sky, radios carried messages across continents, and scientists studied the atmosphere with increasing precision. With each technological breakthrough, humans believed they were closer to understanding everything that happened above them. Yet the mysterious sightings did not disappear. Instead, they evolved. Strange lights moved with intelligent precision. Objects changed direction faster than known physics allowed. And people from all walks of life began reporting encounters they could not rationalize. Modern researchers often point out that these ancient and early historical accounts share patterns with contemporary UFO sightings. While interpretations differ, the core elements remain strikingly similar. Lights that behave with purpose, objects with structured forms, and encounters that leave witnesses deeply shaken or profoundly changed. Psychologists suggest that these shared narratives may come from universal human perception, an instinctive awareness of something unfamiliar. Others argue that the consistency across cultures and eras hints at something external, something that has interacted with humanity for thousands of years. The more historians compare these accounts, the more they notice a continuum, a long, unbroken thread running from ancient myth to modern investigation. What once was interpreted as gods or celestial beings is now explored as unidentified aerial phenomena or potential extraterrestrial contact. The language has changed, the tools have changed, but the mystery remains the same. Tonight, as you drift deeper into calm, you're stepping into that same long journey. A lineage of wonder stretching from ancient temples to modern skies, from myths whispered by firelight to testimonies recorded on digital devices. The night has always held secrets, and humanity has always been drawn to uncover them. The shift from ancient stories to modern encounters began quietly, almost unexpectedly, in the early decades of the 20th century. For the first time in human history, the skies were no longer the exclusive domain of birds and natural phenomena. Airplanes, experimental craft, and military prototypes filled the air. People were looking upward with new attention, and radar, one of the era's greatest inventions, gave humans the ability not just to see the sky, but to measure it. With these new tools came new mysteries, many of which slipped through the edges of what technology could explain. Pilots reported strange objects pacing their aircraft. Radar operators observed blips moving at impossible speeds, and observers on the ground described lights that appeared, vanished, and reappeared in places no known aircraft could reach in time. The turning point came in 1947 when private pilot Kenneth Arnold reported seeing 9 bright, crescent-shaped objects near Mount Rainier. They moved in a motion he described as skipping like saucers across water, a phrase that birthed the term flying saucer almost instantly. Newspapers seized the story not because it was sensational, but because Arnold was considered a reliable, experienced flyer with no reason to invent such a tale. His calm, detailed account sparked a wave of similar reports across the country. People began describing disks, crescents, lights, and metallic objects in the sky, some in daylight, some at night. Historians later noted that these sightings occurred long before science fiction had popularized such imagery, making mass imagination an unlikely explanation. As the Cold War intensified, governments worldwide became deeply invested in understanding what moved through their airspace. Military officials were concerned not with extraterrestrials, but with the possibility of foreign technologies. In this tense environment, unidentified objects were treated as potential threats. Radar stations recorded objects making sharp turns at high velocity, hovering without losing altitude, or accelerating in ways that defied known engineering. Many operators, bound by protocol, logged the incidents without interpretation, but privately speculated about what they had seen. These early radar anomalies, preserved in archives and declassified reports, show a pattern of events that modern analysts still struggle to explain. The U.S. government launched several investigative programs, Project Sign, Project Grudge, and eventually Project Blue Book, to analyze reports. Each program attempted to classify sightings into categories: misidentified aircraft, weather events, astronomical objects, or hoaxes. And while many reports fit these explanations, a significant number did not. Internal memos, released decades later, revealed that some military analysts believed a genuine unknown phenomenon was at work. Yet public statements consistently downplayed the incidents, emphasizing natural explanations, even when internal evaluations expressed uncertainty. Researchers today often highlight this tension between public reassurance and private curiosity as evidence that authorities feared public panic or geopolitical vulnerability. Pilots, especially military aviators, became some of the most important eyewitnesses of this era, trained to identify aircraft, measure distances, and remain calm under pressure. Their testimonies carried weight. Many described glowing spheres maneuvering around their jets, metallic discs hovering above training sites, or elongated shapes that suddenly shot upward into the clouds. Because pilots were trusted professionals, their accounts forced investigators to look more closely. Some pilots later admitted they were discouraged from reporting sightings to avoid career complications. This suppression added another layer of mystery, suggesting that the phenomenon was taken more seriously than public records indicated. Scientific communities also became involved, though cautiously. Astronomers, physicists, and aviation engineers studied the reports, focusing on flight characteristics rather than speculation. They noted details such as sudden acceleration without sonic booms, right-angle turns at high speed, and complete silence, behaviors no known aircraft could achieve. Some researchers suggested atmospheric phenomena or experimental technologies might explain certain sightings, while others argued that the sheer number of consistent reports pointed to something beyond conventional understanding. Over the years, the debate expanded, intersecting with psychology, sociology, and physics, as professionals attempted to interpret the data without leaping to extraordinary conclusions. By the 1960s, the combination of eyewitness testimonies, radar data, and physical trace reports created a complex picture, one that was difficult to dismiss, yet even more difficult to fully explain. Governments continued their investigations, often quietly, while the public grew increasingly curious. And through all of this, a clear theme emerged. The modern sky was filled with anomalies that did not fit into any known category. The era marked humanity's first serious attempt to confront the possibility that something beyond ordinary technology might be moving through our world. In the gentle stillness of night, these stories blend with earlier myths, creating a bridge between ancient wonder and modern inquiry, reminding us that even with our advancements, the sky remains a place of profound and enduring mystery. On a quiet summer evening in the rural countryside of Kentucky during the 1970s, a family sat on their porch, enjoying the last light of day. As the sky darkened, they noticed a soft, pulsing glow coming from the nearby woods. At first, they assumed it was a lantern or some local farm equipment, but the light moved with deliberate purpose, hovering above the treetops before shifting in ways that no known vehicle could manage. The children pointed and whispered, while the parents watched in growing disbelief. The beings that eventually emerged were small, humanoid figures with luminous eyes, moving silently and deliberately around the edges of their property. The family later recounted that the entities displayed intelligence, observing them with curiosity rather than hostility, and that the encounter lasted long enough to imprint itself into memory as vividly as any waking dream. Investigators who later studied the case found numerous peculiar details. Footprints were discovered in the soft earth, geometric in pattern, but unlike those of any animal native to the region. Sensors and devices placed in the area recorded fleeting electromagnetic anomalies, yet no conventional explanation accounted for the event. Psychological evaluations of the family suggested they were sincere and consistent, experiencing no history of hallucinations or mental illness. Historians often note that this encounter, known as the Kelly Hopkinsville case, became a touchstone in UFO research because it combined credible witnesses, physical traces, and sustained observation over several hours. What struck many experts was not fear, but awe. The family described being watched and assessed, yet never harmed, creating a tension between wonder and unease that lingers in the mind. Decades later, a commercial pilot in the 1990s experienced a different kind of encounter, one that unfolded thousands of feet above the ground. While flying a routine night route over the Midwest, the pilot noticed a series of bright, geometrically precise lights pacing his aircraft. They moved in ways that defied conventional aerodynamics, accelerating, halting, and rotating with impossible precision. The pilot remained calm, relying on training, while also documenting what he could with instruments on board. Passengers noticed the phenomenon as well, sharing hushed, incredulous observations. Upon landing, the official report minimized the incident, attributing it to radar anomalies and atmospheric effects. Yet the pilot's detailed logs and corroborating passenger accounts painted a very different picture, one that hinted at deliberate, intelligent observation from an unknown source. In the early 2000s, a remote hiker in the forests of the Pacific Northwest encountered a phenomenon that blended physical presence with a deeply surreal experience. Walking along a quiet trail, the hiker noticed an orb of light that shifted color and intensity, seemingly aware of the observer. As the hiker approached, the orb changed shape, forming a silhouette resembling a humanoid figure before retreating into the night sky. Instruments later measured unusual electromagnetic readings in the area, but no definitive explanation emerged. The hiker's testimony, preserved in a local university archive, drew interest from both UFO researchers and physicists intrigued by anomalies in environmental data. This case highlighted an important dimension of alien encounters. The experience is often as psychological and sensory as it is physical, leaving witnesses profoundly altered in perception and understanding. Across all three accounts, patterns emerge that invite contemplation rather than alarm. Witnesses consistently describe a sense of observation and assessment, the presence of intelligent agency, and experiences that defy normal sensory expectations. Researchers emphasize the importance of context. These were ordinary individuals, families, professionals, hikers, whose encounters were unexpected, extended, and tangible. Even when official reports attempted to downplay or rationalize the events, the consistency of physical evidence and detailed witness recollection remain compelling. Historians and psychologists alike note that these encounters often provoke long-lasting reflection, curiosity, and a subtle shift in worldview, as if the veil between the known and the unknown had been momentarily lifted. The subtle yet vivid details of these stories make them uniquely suited for a calming, contemplative narrative. Unlike sensationalized accounts designed to startle, these encounters are slow-moving, almost dreamlike, yet anchored in reality. Each story builds a sense of quiet awe, emphasizing observation over chaos, intelligence over aggression, and mystery over fear. As the listener drifts further into a relaxed state, the accounts serve as portals into the unknown, inviting imagination to explore possibilities without urgency or alarm. The mind is free to wander among lights, shapes, and beings that remain elusive, while the body continues to release tension, breath by breath. In every instance, the encounters leave a lingering impression of both vastness and subtle intimacy. They remind us that even in a world mapped by satellites and analyzed with sophisticated instruments, there remain moments and phenomena that elude explanation. They invite calm reflection on the limits of knowledge and the presence of something larger, more intelligent, and quietly observant just beyond the reach of ordinary perception. As these narratives unfold, the listener is gently carried through a landscape of real encounters, blending sensory detail, credible testimony, and quiet suspense, all designed to soothe the mind while keeping curiosity alive, balancing relaxation with the enduring allure of the unknown. Around the world, governments have long faced a delicate dilemma: how to respond to reports of strange objects or unexplained phenomena in their airspace without inciting panic or revealing vulnerabilities. In the United States, programs such as Project Sign, Project Grudge, and later Project Blue Book illustrate the careful balance between investigation and discretion. Officially, these programs were tasked with identifying threats and categorizing reports, often attributing sightings to misidentified aircraft, weather events, or celestial phenomena. Yet internal memos, declassified decades later, revealed that many officers privately acknowledged cases that defied conventional explanation. This duality between public dismissal and private concern suggests that governments recognize the potential significance of these encounters, even while maintaining a composed public narrative. Across the Atlantic, the United Kingdom also developed careful monitoring of the skies. Ministry of Defense files, now partially declassified, show a long-term interest in anomalous aerial phenomena. Analysts meticulously documented sightings, interviewed witnesses, and evaluated radar data. They often concluded that most incidents had mundane explanations, but a small percentage remained classified as unknown. Researchers point out that even when governments claim to dismiss these events, the attention given internally indicates an acknowledgement that something unusual was occurring. These patterns are echoed in South America, where nations such as Brazil and Chile established dedicated investigative bodies to collect witness testimony, analyze photos, and monitor regions with frequent activity. Across continents, official responses reveal a shared pattern: careful observation, cautious documentation, and measured public communication. A recurring theme in governmental handling of these events is the tension between secrecy and credibility. Officials worried that acknowledging phenomena without explanation could undermine authority, spark widespread fear, or reveal gaps in national defense. Yet ignoring or dismissing incidents entirely risked losing the confidence of credible witnesses, including military personnel, pilots, and scientists. Historians note that this delicate balance often resulted in public reassurances that downplayed the significance of sightings, while internal reports suggested the opposite. In some cases, investigators recommended further research, only to have findings shelved due to political or strategic considerations. This ambiguity created a layered record of UFO encounters, where evidence, speculation, and caution coexist. Technological limitations of the time also shaped governmental responses. Early radar systems could detect anomalies, but they could not fully characterize unusual flight behaviors. Witness accounts, though compelling, were subjective and difficult to corroborate without supporting instruments. Photographs and film were often inconclusive or degraded. Governments responded by creating specialized units to filter reports, conduct interviews, and analyze any measurable data. In the United States, the Air Force routinely investigated unknowns, while in other countries, military intelligence and scientific committees reviewed unusual sightings. These structured processes demonstrate that the phenomena were taken seriously at multiple levels, even when official statements minimized their significance to the public. An important element of these investigations is the documentation of human experience. Officials consistently noted the reliability of witnesses, trained pilots, radar operators, and experienced civilians who provided detailed, consistent descriptions. Reports included precise flight patterns, acceleration rates, and maneuvers that defied conventional aircraft. Historians often highlight the contrast between witness credibility and public skepticism, emphasizing that many encounters cannot be easily explained by error, illusion, or mass hysteria. Researchers today still return to these archives to study the original testimonies, finding that they provide a window into both the phenomena and the careful, cautious way governments attempted to understand them. Across all nations, a quiet pattern emerges. Governments sought to monitor, evaluate, and, when necessary, conceal anomalous events in the sky. Secrecy was not always intended to deceive the public, but to manage information responsibly in uncertain circumstances. Analysts debated each case, distinguishing between the explainable and the inexplicable, often acknowledging that a small number of incidents resisted conventional understanding. Even decades later, these archived reports and declassified files form a rich tapestry for modern researchers, offering insight into both the phenomena themselves and the human institutions tasked with responding to them. This measured approach invites reflection on the complexity of encountering the unknown. For listeners, it emphasizes that alien or unexplained phenomena were never merely sensational stories. They were issues investigated by trained professionals, recorded carefully, and treated with caution. The tension between internal concern and public reassurance adds an element of quiet intrigue, revealing that behind calm official statements, the unknown has consistently demanded attention. As the night deepens and the listener relaxes, these accounts provide both reassurance and curiosity. Evidence that mystery exists, is taken seriously, and yet remains just out of complete understanding, allowing the imagination to wander gently through the quiet expanses of the unseen. Beyond conventional explanations, some researchers and thinkers have proposed that encounters with unidentified phenomena may not be purely physical, but may exist at the boundaries of perception, consciousness, and reality itself. Scientists, folklorists, and paranormal investigators have long noted patterns in reports, shared elements that defy straightforward material interpretation. Witnesses often describe missing time, sudden sensory distortions, and beings that appear and disappear without trace. While some dismiss these experiences as psychological anomalies or stress responses, others argue that the consistency across decades and cultures suggests something more profound. Could these events represent glimpses into dimensions or realities that exist alongside our own, accessible only under certain conditions or through altered perception? The concept of interdimensional visitation has fascinated both physicists and theorists. Some propose that what we interpret as alien spacecraft may be entities operating in higher dimensional space, briefly intersecting with our three-dimensional world. These theories, while speculative, attempt to reconcile eyewitness descriptions of objects that defy known physics, sudden appearances, impossible maneuvers, and vanishing acts, with a framework that does not rely solely on advanced human or extraterrestrial technology. Folklorists note that many ancient myths, chariots of fire, sky visitors, or beings descending from light, could be interpreted as early human attempts to describe interdimensional phenomena with a language available to them at the time. Time-slip phenomena are another element explored in alternative theories. Numerous reports involve witnesses experiencing gaps in perception, where minutes or hours seem to vanish without explanation. In some cases, individuals emerge with physical traces, scratches, altered clothing, or inexplicable burns, but no memory of what occurred. Psychologists studying these incidents suggest that our brains may process extreme stress or unfamiliar stimuli in ways that create temporal distortions. Yet, the remarkable similarity of these experiences across cultures and eras invites deeper speculation. Might there be a reality in which time behaves differently, intersecting with ours only in brief, fleeting moments? Eyewitness testimonies frequently describe a sense of intelligence or awareness in these phenomena. Observers report that objects and beings appear to respond to attention, sometimes retreating when approached or adjusting behavior based on the observer's movements. This adaptive quality has led some theorists to suggest that what humans call aliens might be conscious, intentional, and possibly non-physical. Unlike machines or purely natural phenomena, these encounters imply agency, an ability to interact with humans in ways that challenge conventional understanding of physics and biology. Historians and researchers note that such patterns are remarkably consistent. From ancient encounters with luminous beings to modern UFO sightings captured on radar and video. Cultural and psychological frameworks play a role in shaping interpretation, yet they do not fully account for the physical and sensory elements reported. Some accounts include electromagnetic disturbances, unusual lights, and alterations in the environment, details that extend beyond subjective experience. This intersection of the tangible and the intangible suggests that alternative explanations cannot be dismissed outright. Rather, they invite exploration of phenomena that straddle the boundary between the measurable and the mysterious, reminding us that human understanding is still limited in scope and perspective. The subtle tension between known reality and perceived experience is what makes these encounters both captivating and soothing in a nighttime narrative. Unlike horror stories that rely on fear, these accounts unfold slowly, drawing attention to curiosity and wonder. The mind can drift gently between possibilities, higher dimensions, consciousness-based phenomena, or hidden aspects of the universe, without feeling threatened. Observers often emerge from these experiences not terrified, but profoundly affected, with a sense of connection to something larger, something quietly intelligent and beyond ordinary perception. By presenting these ideas in a calm, reflective manner, the mind is invited to expand while the body remains relaxed. The unknown is not a threat, but a companion, an enigma to contemplate under the safe canopy of night. Even if the true nature of these encounters remains elusive, the patterns themselves, the missing time, the responsive entities, the inexplicable movements, suggest a richness and depth to the universe that extends beyond ordinary perception. As the night deepens and attention drifts, the listener is gently carried along, imagining realities that coexist alongside our own, and the quiet possibility that the world is far stranger, more complex, and more interconnected than it often appears in daylight. Human fascination with the unknown extends far beyond individual encounters, seeping deeply into culture, art, and collective imagination. Alien sightings and unexplained phenomena have long influenced the way societies tell stories, create art, and interpret the cosmos. From the earliest myths of sky beings to modern cinema, the concept of visitors from other worlds has served as a canvas upon which humanity projects its fears, hopes, and questions about existence. Artists and writers explore these ideas not only as entertainment, but as a mirror to collective anxieties and curiosities, capturing the tension between the familiar and the unknown. In this way, encounters with the inexplicable have always shaped not just what we see, but how we think and dream. The rise of science fiction in the 20th century coincided closely with a surge in reported sightings of strange aerial phenomena. Movies, television shows, and literature began to depict beings from other worlds, often reflecting contemporary concerns, nuclear tension, technological advancement, and the fragility of human life. Historians note that early films often portrayed extraterrestrials as ominous or threatening, mirroring Cold War fears of invasion or infiltration. Later depictions became more nuanced, presenting visitors as curious observers, guides, or even allies. This evolution in narrative demonstrates how cultural output is deeply intertwined with public perception of the unknown, and how storytelling can transform anxiety into wonder, framing the mysterious as a source of imagination rather than fear. Psychologists suggest that these cultural echoes do more than entertain. They help humans process experiences that are otherwise difficult to articulate. Unexplained sightings, whether personal or reported by others, are often woven into pre-existing cultural frameworks, giving shape to ambiguity. People interpret anomalies in the sky through lenses shaped by religion, folklore, or popular media. In essence, culture provides a vocabulary for the unknown, a way to communicate encounters that defy conventional understanding. The proliferation of alien imagery in art, literature, and film reflects this need for narrative structure, allowing society to explore mysteries while maintaining a sense of coherence and comprehension. Even in contemporary media, alien encounters maintain a delicate balance between fascination and fear. Documentaries, podcasts, and streaming series often present real-life sightings alongside expert commentary, historical context, and eyewitness testimony. This approach mirrors the way cultural narratives have always evolved, combining observation, interpretation, and storytelling. The result is an immersive experience in which audiences are invited to consider possibilities without feeling threatened. Viewers are guided to ponder the unknown as a shared human experience, connecting their own curiosity to the centuries of stories that have preceded them. It is a subtle but powerful way in which culture shapes perception of the extraordinary. The impact of these stories is not limited to entertainment or academic interest. Social and cultural norms are influenced as well. Communities that report frequent sightings often develop local lore, rituals, and traditions tied to the phenomena. These stories become embedded in collective memory, shaping how future generations interpret and respond to the unexplained. Folklorists observe that such narratives often serve dual purposes, preserving mystery while providing a framework for social cohesion, as people share experiences and interpret them together. Cultural reinforcement ensures that these encounters remain part of the collective imagination, regardless of whether a scientific explanation is ever found. In addition, art inspired by alien encounters often emphasizes sensory richness and emotional subtlety. Paintings, illustrations, and films frequently highlight light, shape, and movement, echoing the descriptions given by eyewitnesses. This consistency creates a feedback loop. As culture interprets experiences, those interpretations influence how future encounters are perceived and remembered. Human imagination and experience merge, allowing the mind to navigate uncertainty safely, transforming the unknown from something to fear into something to explore gently, even at night. For a listener lying in bed, these stories provide a quiet bridge between reality and possibility, inviting contemplation without urgency or alarm. Ultimately, cultural echoes remind us that the human experience of the mysterious is both personal and shared. Aliens, UFOs, and unexplainable phenomena serve as lenses through which society examines itself, our fears, our curiosity, and our endless desire to understand what lies beyond. They transform individual wonder into collective imagination, creating a tapestry of stories that stretch across time and geography. In the calm of night, as you drift toward sleep, These narratives linger softly at the edges of thought, gently connecting personal curiosity to centuries of human exploration, artistic reflection, and cultural fascination with the unknown. They encourage quiet wonder, a meditative reflection on the mysteries that surround and define the human experience. In the 21st century, encounters with unexplained aerial phenomena have taken on a new dimension, shaped by technology and global connectivity. Unlike earlier decades, when reports were often limited to eyewitness testimony and grainy photographs, modern investigators have access to video footage, satellite data, and sophisticated tracking instruments. Smartphone cameras, drones, and radar networks now capture events in real time, allowing phenomena to be documented with a level of precision previously unimaginable. This technological advancement has transformed the study of anomalous encounters from a fringe interest into a field of serious inquiry, drawing attention from scientists, aviation authorities, and even government agencies around the world. Naval and military pilots have become central to many contemporary reports. During routine training exercises, pilots have recorded encounters with objects displaying extraordinary flight characteristics, rapid acceleration, sudden stops, and precise maneuvers beyond the capabilities of conventional aircraft. Video evidence captured on helmet-mounted cameras and infrared sensors shows lights and shapes that challenge existing aerodynamic understanding. Analysts note that these objects often appear to respond to observers, suggesting intentional movement rather than random motion. These encounters are documented in official reports and declassified files, offering a level of credibility that sets them apart from anecdotal sightings of the past. In addition to direct observation, researchers are increasingly analyzing environmental data associated with encounters. Electromagnetic fluctuations, unusual radar signatures, and localized disturbances in atmospheric readings are recorded alongside eyewitness accounts. These anomalies are subtle, often fleeting, yet consistent enough to suggest an underlying physical phenomenon. Scientists exploring these events emphasize the importance of careful measurement and verification, noting that the combination of objective data with human observation strengthens the case for investigating these encounters seriously. Unlike folklore or anecdote alone, this evidence provides a tangible foundation for understanding something that remains largely elusive. Modern civilian reports also contribute to the expanding record. With social media and digital platforms, ordinary individuals can instantly share images, videos, and detailed narratives of unexplained phenomena. Researchers note that these reports often mirror historical accounts in striking ways: unusual lights, structured shapes, and behaviors suggestive of intelligence. Crowdsourcing and community verification allow multiple perspectives to be compared, reducing the likelihood of misinterpretation or fabrication. This broader data collection offers researchers a richer tapestry of evidence, spanning geography, culture, and circumstance, and emphasizes that encounters are not confined to isolated regions or individuals. Another important aspect of contemporary investigation is the interdisciplinary approach. Physicists, engineers, psychologists, and astronomers collaborate to analyze patterns, explore possible explanations, and test hypotheses. Some researchers examine propulsion theories, others focus on perceptual and psychological factors, while still others explore the possibility of interdimensional or non-human intelligence. This collaborative effort reflects a recognition that no single field can fully explain the phenomena, highlighting both the complexity of the encounters and the depth of human curiosity. Each study, each investigation, adds another layer to a growing body of knowledge, even if definitive answers remain elusive. What is particularly striking about modern encounters is their consistency with historical patterns. Lights behaving in impossible ways, objects responding to observers, and witnesses experiencing profound emotional and sensory impressions are themes that persist across time. Modern technology has only amplified the clarity and quantity of documentation, reinforcing the notion that these phenomena are enduring, widespread, and persistent. While some encounters are eventually explained through conventional means, the unexplainable fraction continues to challenge our understanding, inviting both skepticism and wonder in equal measure. For listeners, these modern investigations provide a calm but compelling bridge between past and present. They demonstrate that the unknown is not merely the product of imagination or legend, but continues to manifest in observable ways, requiring attention, reflection, and curiosity. As you lie quietly, the mind can drift through these accounts, imagining a world in which intelligence, mystery, and the unexplained are quietly present, just beyond immediate perception. The night becomes a space not of fear, but of possibility, where even ordinary moments may intersect with phenomena that expand the boundaries of knowledge. In this gentle contemplation, the unknown becomes a source of wonder, a quiet invitation to explore, imagine, and reflect on the vast, mysterious universe that surrounds us. As the night deepens and the world outside grows quiet, it becomes possible to pause and reflect on why stories of alien encounters, unexplained phenomena, and mysterious lights linger so persistently in our minds. They are more than fleeting curiosities or sensational tales meant to provoke fear. They are windows into something much larger, subtler, and deeply human. Across centuries, cultures, and continents, these experiences have sparked wonder, awe, and contemplation. They remind us that even in a world dominated by science, technology, and rational understanding, there are realms of experience that remain elusive, moments where reality feels just slightly out of reach, as if the universe is offering glimpses of something beyond our everyday comprehension. One reason these stories resonate so strongly is that they touch on a fundamental human desire, the search for connection and understanding. Throughout history, people have looked to the skies not only for navigation or observation, but to find meaning. In ancient civilizations, stars were guides, oracles, and symbols of the divine. Even today, the night sky evokes reflection on our place in the cosmos, the vastness of space, and the limits of human knowledge. Encounters with the unknown carry that same weight. They are intimate yet expansive, personal yet universal. A single light moving in an impossible way or a brief glimpse of something otherworldly can awaken a sense of humility and curiosity, reminding us that the universe is larger, stranger, and more intricate than we often allow ourselves to perceive. These stories endure because they reflect the delicate balance between fear and fascination, between the familiar and the unknown. Most witnesses describe encounters that are startling or surreal, yet rarely hostile. The sense of observation, of being seen or acknowledged by a presence that is intelligent but incomprehensible, creates a quiet tension. It is not terror in the dramatic sense, but a subtle awareness that one is in the presence of something profoundly other. This tension is part of what makes such stories so memorable. They evoke emotion without overwhelming the senses, allowing the mind to linger on mystery, speculation, and wonder. In the calm of night, as the listener drifts toward sleep, this balance becomes a gentle guide, leading the imagination along a path that is both relaxing and deeply intriguing. Another reason these encounters leave such lasting impressions is the way they challenge our understanding of reality. Pilots, hikers, families, and civilians from all walks of life have reported experiences that defy conventional explanation. When people encounter something that cannot be fully classified, measured, or predicted, it unsettles habitual ways of thinking. Witnesses often describe objects accelerating beyond known limits, hovering in silence, or disappearing without a trace. Others report interactions with beings that seem intelligent, responsive, or curious. Even when rational explanations are proposed, atmospheric phenomena, misidentified aircraft, or perceptual errors, these accounts often contain layers of detail and consistency that resist easy dismissal. The human mind is drawn to this tension between the known and the unknown, and stories that embody it persist in memory, inspiring reflection and imagination. There is also a deeply psychological dimension to these experiences. Encounters with unexplained phenomena often leave a subtle, long-lasting impression that goes beyond the immediate moment. Some witnesses report heightened awareness, shifts in perception, or an enduring sense of connection to the cosmos. Psychologists note that such experiences can provoke wonder and introspection, prompting questions about reality, consciousness, and our place in the universe. The memory of an unexplainable sight or event becomes a touchstone, a quiet companion that surfaces during moments of contemplation or solitude. These psychological echoes explain why reports of UFOs and alien encounters continue to captivate people who were not directly involved, because the stories resonate with universal human curiosity, bridging imagination, intellect, and emotion. Cultural context amplifies the impact of these narratives. From ancient myths to modern media, the unknown has always been woven into collective imagination. Tales of sky visitors, luminous beings, or mysterious crafts are reflected in art, literature, and film, forming a continuous thread across generations. When individuals encounter unexplained phenomena, they interpret the experience through the lens of cultural memory. They draw upon stories, symbols, and archetypes, giving shape to experiences that might otherwise feel ineffable. This process does not diminish the reality of the encounter. Rather, it situates it within a broader human narrative, linking personal experience to the long continuum of human fascination with the cosmos. As listeners lie in the quiet of night, these stories carry echoes of countless generations who have looked upward and wondered, connecting imagination, history, and lived experience. Even in a modern context, the persistence of these stories suggests that the unknown is a constant companion. Technology has allowed greater documentation, from radar and infrared recordings to high-resolution video captured by civilians and professionals alike. Yet despite the availability of data, many phenomena remain unexplained, reinforcing the notion that mystery is not a relic of the past, but a living part of contemporary reality. The continuity between historical accounts and modern sightings, whether from ancient Vimanas, Cold War radar blips, or recent Navy pilot reports, creates a sense of timelessness. Humanity continues to encounter phenomena that challenge understanding, emphasizing that curiosity, wonder, and careful observation are as relevant today as they were thousands of years ago. The enduring fascination with alien encounters and unexplained phenomena also serves a deeper purpose. It encourages contemplation of our place in the universe. These stories invite reflection on questions that have no definitive answers. Are we alone? Is intelligence elsewhere observing us? Or are we glimpsing aspects of reality we cannot yet comprehend? What does it mean to be human in a vast, mysterious cosmos? Unlike conventional problem solving, these questions do not demand immediate answers. They exist as gentle prompts for reflection, encouraging the mind to explore, consider, and imagine. In the quiet of night, as the body relaxes and attention drifts, these inquiries can inspire a meditative state, one that is both calming and intellectually engaging. Perhaps most importantly, these narratives remind us that mystery need not be frightening. Encounters with the unknown can inspire awe, curiosity, and a quiet sense of connection to something larger than ourselves. Witnesses rarely describe malevolent intent. More often, they report observation, subtle interaction, or fleeting glimpses that spark wonder. In this way, the unknown becomes an invitation rather than a threat, a chance to experience the world as expansive, layered, and alive with possibility. As the listener breathes slowly, relaxing further into the rhythm of night, these stories provide a gentle, contemplative landscape for the mind to wander safely among possibilities, illuminating the extraordinary in a manner that is soothing and inspiring. In reflecting on the vast tapestry of encounters, historical, modern, documented, and personal, it becomes clear why these stories remain so compelling. They blend the real with the mysterious, anchoring imagination in testimony, observation, and evidence, while simultaneously inviting speculation, wonder, and reflection. They connect generations, cultures, and disciplines, forming a continuum of human curiosity that stretches from the first stargazers to the present day. Each story, whether of strange lights, intelligent beings, or fleeting anomalies, becomes a bridge between the known and the unknown, allowing the mind to travel safely across the edges of reality. As you lie quietly in the soft darkness, these reflections settle gently alongside your breathing. The stories do not demand belief or certainty. They invite calm, curiosity, and a meditative sense of awe. The universe, vast and unknowable, stretches beyond perception. Yet these glimpses remind us that mystery exists not to terrify, but to expand, to connect, and to soothe. Through these accounts, the listener is carried along a quiet journey of reflection, imagination, and understanding. The night becomes a companion, the unknown a guide, and the mind a traveler among infinite possibilities. In this gentle descent into contemplation, the extraordinary is revealed not in spectacle, but in subtle enduring wonder, a lullaby of curiosity and calm, leading naturally into sleep, dreams, and the quiet embrace of the night. The night stretches on, quiet and unbroken, carrying with it a stillness that seems to suspend time. As your breathing slows and your body sinks deeper into rest, you find yourself contemplating the vast expanse of the universe, not in haste, not with urgency, but in a calm, reflective awareness. The stories you have heard tonight, of lights that move in impossible ways, of beings that observe with intelligence, and of phenomena that defy conventional explanation, all share a common thread. They remind us that the world is far more mysterious than our daily routines suggest. Each account, whether ancient myth or modern encounter, invites a gentle curiosity, a meditative exploration of what lies just beyond the edge of perception. In this quiet, reflective state, you are encouraged not to question or doubt, but simply to witness, to imagine, and to wonder. Consider the subtle ways in which human experience interacts with the unknown. Ancient civilizations looked to the sky and described beings of light descending to earth, often bringing wisdom or guidance. The Sumerians, with their detailed clay tablets, spoke of sky visitors who shared knowledge of tools, agriculture, and law. These narratives, painstakingly recorded and preserved over millennia, reflect an acute awareness of phenomena that were difficult to comprehend. The Vedic texts of India describe radiant chariots, capable of traversing the heavens with extraordinary speed and precision, piloted by beings whose presence inspired awe and reverence. In medieval Europe, chroniclers wrote of fiery shields and luminous wheels moving through the night sky, witnessed by entire towns. Across these centuries and cultures, the consistent elements are striking: light, intelligence, observation, and profound impact on human consciousness. These historical threads connect seamlessly to the modern experiences you have heard about, forming a continuum of wonder that spans human history. In the modern era, the lens of technology has added a new dimension to these mysteries. Pilots and military personnel report objects that move with precision impossible by conventional aircraft, performing maneuvers that defy the laws of physics. Radar operators capture anomalies that appear and vanish without explanation, leaving behind no trace other than fleeting blips on their screens. Civilian witnesses, armed with smartphones and cameras, document lights and shapes that challenge our understanding of flight and propulsion. Even when skeptics attempt to provide conventional explanations, atmospheric phenomena, illusions of perception, or experimental technology, the consistency of reports across time, space, and credibility of witnesses remains compelling. The modern record demonstrates that these phenomena are not confined to folklore or imagination. They are ongoing, persistent, and worthy of careful reflection. Beyond the technical and historical details lies the psychological and emotional dimension of encounters. Witnesses often report a profound sense of awe rather than fear, as if they are momentarily attuned to a larger intelligence or cosmic presence. Pilots describe calm observation punctuated by curiosity. Families recount quiet vigilance during encounters with luminous entities in the woods. Hikers speak of a gentle, almost sentient awareness in the presence of glowing orbs. Psychologists suggest that these experiences may expand consciousness, temporarily shifting perception to a broader understanding of reality. Historians and researchers note that this effect is consistent across cultures and eras. Humans encountering the unknown respond with a mixture of respect, awe, and contemplation. The narratives you have heard tonight are part of this enduring pattern, a reminder that the unknown, when approached calmly, can be transformative rather than threatening. Another layer of these experiences involves the interplay between the tangible and the intangible. Many accounts include measurable effects, electromagnetic disturbances, anomalous readings on instruments, and physical traces such as footprints, impressions, or changes in environmental conditions. At the same time, witnesses describe sensations, perceptions, and emotional responses that are subjective yet remarkably consistent. The coexistence of physical evidence and experiential reporting suggests that these encounters occupy a space between worlds, where observable reality intersects with consciousness, where phenomena may be both present and elusive. Interdimensional theories propose that what we perceive as fleeting lights, humanoid forms, or objects in impossible motion might be glimpses of realities that exist alongside our own. The precise nature of these interactions remains beyond complete understanding, yet their consistency across time underscores their significance. Cultural influence further enriches this tapestry of experience. Across centuries, societies have reflected encounters with the unknown in art, literature, and collective memory. Ancient myths, medieval chronicles, and modern science fiction all serve as mirrors for human curiosity, anxiety, and imagination. Movies, books, and visual arts draw on descriptions of lights, beings, and craft, creating a feedback loop in which imagination informs perception and perception informs imagination. Psychologists suggest that these cultural frameworks provide a vocabulary for interpreting extraordinary events, allowing individuals and societies to process experiences that might otherwise be incomprehensible. Even while the phenomena themselves may remain unexplained, their imprint on human consciousness is undeniable. The night sky, once a canvas for gods and spirits, continues to inspire stories that bridge the gap between reality and imagination, grounding wonder in both observation and reflection. Modern investigations reveal another dimension: the collaboration of multiple disciplines in exploring these mysteries. Physicists, engineers, psychologists, and folklorists study patterns in encounters, cross-referencing observations with environmental data, historical accounts, and eyewitness testimony. The result is a nuanced understanding that respects both measurable phenomena and subjective experience. Researchers are careful to distinguish between confirmed anomalies, natural explanations, and unexplained events, highlighting that ambiguity itself is a meaningful part of the inquiry. The absence of absolute answers does not diminish the significance of the encounters. Rather, it emphasizes the richness of the unknown and the value of curiosity, observation, and careful reflection. Even in the calm of night, as you listen or imagine these accounts, this multidisciplinary approach underscores that the unknown is approached with both rigor and reverence. The narratives themselves, when presented slowly and contemplatively, have a unique effect on the mind. Unlike stories designed to startle or provoke anxiety, these accounts unfold gently, emphasizing observation, sensory detail, and emotional nuance. The light hovering over a forest, the craft pacing a plane, the brief glimpse of an interdimensional figure. Each is described with precision and care, allowing the mind to absorb the wonder without tension. This approach aligns with the natural rhythms of sleep and relaxation. By following the cadence of the stories, the listener's attention drifts alongside them, creating a state in which curiosity, reflection, and relaxation coexist. The unknown becomes a companion rather than a threat, inviting meditation and quiet exploration. There is also an enduring lesson in these stories about humility and perspective. Humanity has mapped continents, sent satellites into orbit, and explored the subatomic world. Yet there remain phenomena that resist explanation. The unknown reminds us that knowledge is partial, and that reality may be far more layered and intricate than everyday perception allows. The night sky, with its depth, movement, and subtlety, becomes a space where imagination and observation meet, a space that encourages both wonder and contemplation. By engaging with these stories in a calm, reflective way, one participates in a lineage of human experience that stretches from ancient civilizations to contemporary investigators, connected by curiosity, observation, and the desire to understand. As the body relaxes further, you may sense that these narratives serve as gentle guides through the vastness of both space and consciousness. They offer a way to consider what lies beyond the familiar, to honor curiosity without anxiety, and to recognize that the universe holds countless mysteries waiting to be perceived. The experiences of witnesses, the historical accounts, and the modern investigations collectively illustrate a universe that is both expansive and intimate, mysterious and accessible. They remind us that even in quiet solitude, under a darkened sky, one can sense a presence larger than oneself, a rhythm, a pattern, a subtle intelligence quietly moving through existence. In this extended reflection, it becomes clear that the true essence of these encounters lies not only in their factual or historical components, but in their ability to expand consciousness, encourage contemplation, and inspire awe. By remaining calm, open, and attentive, the mind is invited to wander through time, across cultures, and into dimensions of possibility. The unknown is experienced not as a threat, but as a gentle presence, an enduring mystery that accompanies humanity through centuries, bridging the gap between the seen and unseen, the known and the incomprehensible. As you continue to breathe slowly, letting each exhale release tension, the stories dissolve softly into your imagination, carrying you toward a state of deep rest, reflection, and connection with the infinite mysteries of the night. The quiet presence of these mysteries, persistent yet gentle, becomes a companion for sleep. As consciousness drifts, it floats among stars, lights, and silent watchers, feeling both small and infinitely connected to the broader universe. Every pulse of curiosity, every flicker of wonder, draws you closer to the understanding that mystery itself is part of life's rhythm. And in this calm, suspended state, you can rest fully, carried by stories that are at once real, speculative, historical, and eternal, knowing that the universe is vast, alive with possibility, and quietly awaiting discovery.